Welcome. I haven't uploaded any videos for a few months, and this is the reason. For the past months, I've been renovating these premises to turn them into my new workshop. In this video, I'll show you how I applied the lessons I learned throughout the years of practice to turn this ground floor into a workshop that's suited to my needs. I've also made some new projects, whose plans I'll share for free. All of this and much more in this new video. The premises didn't have any water or electrical installations, and since it also didn't have a level floor, I hid the wiring and all the pipes beneath the new floor. I also built new brick walls for a new bathroom and an office. I sprayed plaster on the ceiling and on some of the walls. I've used OSB boards and polystyrene sheets as cladding for the concrete walls on the right side of the workshop. Galicia is very humid, so doing this I've managed to reduce it. This will also allow me to screw things onto the wall more easily. Another advantage of OSB is that it yields good results from a structural point of view. It hides dirt very well, and is relatively cheap. Later on, I'd like to put up cladding on the rest of the walls. I drew a design of the new workshop on SketchUp, and this is the plan view. This ground floor is 120 square meters total. I spent a few days organizing my tools to make the most of the available space. To do this, I took into account the necessary space for each tool and how often I'll use them. I've placed the workbenches and tools I use most on the right side of the workshop. This is the most spacious place and when there's natural sunlight. I'll use the left side of the workshop for storage and stationary tools such as the jointer and the dust collector. In the center, I'll park a car. Let's do a tour of the workshop. If you want more information or the plans for any of the tools you'll see on this tour, I'll leave links in the description of this video. This is the mobile workbench, one of the DIY tools I use most. It needs quite a lot of space around the in-feed and out-feed areas to cut longer workpieces, which is why I decided that this would be a good place for it. Opposite it, I place the portable workshop, but lately I've only used its router, so I keep it closed with the DIY edge belt sander on top. Next to it, I place the CO2 X-Tool P2 laser. For now it sits on a pallet, but I'm planning to make a stand with wheels for it. I found this piece of glass in the container of a window factory and placed it on the wall that divides the office and the workshop. The office isn't too big, and this detail makes it more spacious. Besides, when I make a CNC again, I'm planning to place it just behind the glass so I can see it in operation while I'm sitting in the office. To the left of the portable workshop, I placed some of the jigs I use most, such as the angle drill press vise and the incremental circle jig. Underneath these jigs, I place the scroll saw and my 3D router. The ladder is a tool I'm planning to build again to implement some improvements I've been working on. These two tools sit on an old workbench which I restored. It was in a woodworking school which renovated its equipment, and I think it's perfect for my workshop. I made 2 new drawers for it to store small fittings. I'm not sure about the shade of blue I used, so I probably painted a different color. I shot the restoration of this workbench on video. If you're interested in a new video about this project, let me know in the comments. Further left, I placed my DIY lathe on an old bench I made around 20 years ago to do luthier work. This lathe also has sanding discs, a tool which I use almost daily. For this reason, this will be the perfect place for this tool so that I can access the sanding disc. On top of the lathe, I fasten a shelf from my old workshop, but I'm thinking about building some tall wall cabinets to store fittings. I've also hung two other table saw accessories on the wall. To the left of the lathe, I placed the column drill. For now, I'm using my old drill press stand, but this is another one of the tools I want to build. Above the drill, I fastened to the wall the old drill bit rack that I had in my old workshop, and the three drill bit sets I use most often. It's one of those simple yet very effective ideas. With this system, accessing the bit you need is very quick and convenient. I've drilled some holes in the boxes so that I can hang them up and remove them from the wall easily, so I can take the drill bit set somewhere else. Further left on this wall, I place the workshop cabinets with small parts storage organizer. Inside the cabinets, I have my most used fasteners, which I thought would be indispensable to have near my main workbench. On top of the cabinets, I place the rotary tool multi-purpose workstation. This is also a tool I use quite a lot in projects that require precision. It has three functions: a mini column drill, a router table, and a lathe. To the right, I'm planning to place a mobile miter saw stand. It will probably be my next project, but for now I don't even have the miter saw. This 3D model is only an example I downloaded for this video. Here's my multifunction workbench. It's a real workhorse that I use for all my projects. Don't forget I have several videos dedicated to this workbench on my YouTube channel. Another improvement I had in mind, and that I have been able to apply in the new workshop, is installing floor sockets under some workbenches and tools. This allows me to use power strips, which I've installed on this bench, avoiding the inconvenience of having annoying cables all over the floor. Opposite it, I place my two modular workbenches, where I store the hand tools I use most frequently. Logically, on the wall, I've installed sockets and two switches to turn on a small dust collector, and the LED light box with my logo, which I made a few weeks ago. On the bench, you can see some of the router jigs I've made over the years. To the left on the wall, I put up the jigsaw holder station with a spray can shaker. Another tool that gets a lot of use, both to keep the jigsaw and all its accessories on hand and to shake varnish spray cans. Above the modular workbench, I'm planning to install a French cleat to place all kinds of hand tools. For now, I've made use of the pine shelves I had in my old workshop. To the left of the two modular workbenches, I fastened to the wall some clamp racks. It's a very simple design I made using birch plywood. I drilled a hole of the required diameter and finished the channels with a table saw. After that, I only had to assemble the racks and screw them onto the wall. I put the parallel clamp sideways, sorted by length. For the iron clamps, as well as the smaller clamps, I made racks to place them facing forward. This was, without a doubt, one of the improvements I missed most in my old workshop. To the left of the clamps, I've put up a small shelf with a sandpaper roll rack and all kinds of spray cans. Having organized sandpaper rolls on hand was another pending subject in my old workshop. I've used some HPL panel pieces which I fastened with screws placed at a 25-degree angle to prevent the rolls from falling when pulling on the sandpaper to cut it. These could also be made out of hardwood or some kind of plastic. As the rotation axis, I used a 40mm PVC pipe, which I've cut with a table saw. To use this system, you only have to roll up a few meters of sandpaper using the PVC pipe as an axis. For the self-adhesive sandpaper rolls, I've had to make some spacers out of MDF. With this design, I've managed to place 5 rolls of cloth-backed sandpaper, 120mm wide and 150mm in diameter, and another 6 rolls of self-adhesive sandpaper, 70mm wide and 100mm in diameter. The touch and toughness of the sandpaper when unrolling it is perfect, and being able to remove the rolls individually is very convenient if you want to take them somewhere or replace the sandpaper. If you'd like to make your own sandpaper roll rack, you can download the plans for free after registering on my website. I'll leave a link in the description of this video. This area will be the operation center of my new workshop. In this location, which comprises the multifunction workbench, the modular workbench, and the walls around them, is where I'll spend most of my time at work. I think I have enough space to move around the bench, even to work with larger workpieces. That's why this is the area where I decided to place the vacuum cleaner, as well as 2 air couplings, one to the right of the modular workbench, and another higher up by the clamps. In this coupling, I plugged a 15-meter air hose reel. I covered the hose with a wooden strip with black lacquer to avoid damaging it, and I left around 4 meters of the hose unrolled, which I can secure with some stops. This is very convenient because with this hose I can do the most usual jobs on my workbench, and if I need more, I only have to pull. I think I'm going to come up with a system to hang this hose from the ceiling, above my workbench. Now let's take a look at the area of my workshop that has the stationary machines. I'll start with the compressor. Here we can see a piece of a hose which I used for the installation of compressed air. I've noticed that since this hole is several meters long and is beneath the floor, it condensates quite a lot of water. I should place some air filters at least so I can use a spray gun. A few days ago I was varnishing some of the doors in the workshop, and in the end I had to use a compressor with a shorter hose, avoiding this installation to avoid the annoying water problem while we're varnishing. Next to the compressor I placed the dust collector. I still haven't installed the ductwork. I'm also considering making a small compartment for the vacuum cleaner and the compressor to lower the decibels a little. To the right of the compressor I have my old spray booth, something which I would also like to make again. This is the folding woodworking workstation. I have it here for when I need to use the dado blade. Behind it is the jointer planer combo. Next to it I place my DIY bandsaw. I arrange these tools like this so that I can cut longer workpieces with a bandsaw without having to move the other tools. Finally, I also placed here my spindle sander. I still need some DIY tools which I'd like to put in this area, such as an edge sander. The rest of this space will be used to store boards and other materials. After putting up the cladding on these walls, I'd like to build some shelves that can bear a lot of weight. Last but not least, I'd like to show you my new office, even though there's nothing special about it. I made a desk with leftover bits of boards I had in my workshop. I still need to make its drawers and some new shelves. Something I also missed in my old workshop was raising the speakers a little. Now they're almost at ear height and sound much better. I also made a shelf under which I can put the keyboard so that I have more room on the desktop for drawing. Another noteworthy thing is that I installed a switch to activate a contactor and turn on at the same time both speakers and the sound card. If you're familiar with home studios, you'll know what I'm talking about. I hope you liked this little tour of my new workshop. If you have any ideas on how to improve it, don't hesitate to leave them in the comments below. Also, remember you'll find a lot more information and the plans for all the DIY tools you've seen in this video in the description. See you soon.